welcome to yet another edition of the Creators Checkup. My name is Alan C. Paul. I am your host, and this is where we help you with specific issues that impact faith-focused creators, Christian creators, musician, authors, artists, anyone in the space of the arts and content creation space, and helping you to become the creator that you were created to be. But this is kind of our weekly community roundup. So many of our 360 members, those that have been members for a long time, maybe you're joining for the first time, you just joined our membership 360, and you said, you know what, let me check this out. I don't get to come in right at 11 p.m. or sorry, 11 p.m. Maybe you're watching at 11 p.m. But 11 a.m. is when we do this live on Fridays Eastern time. And I've been talking to the membership. Is this the best time? Is this the best time for people to come in live? And we go back and forth because what I found out is that many of our members are actually working 9 to 5. They are doing their creative work on the side or concurrently or parallel to their work in the corporate space or their 9 to 5 job, whatever you want to call that. So it's been back and forth with me whether I'm serving you best by showing up during the day, but over and over again, I've asked, and it feels like this is where people can check in if you can on your lunch break. But if you can't, you're always watching the replay. So if you're watching the replay now, your comments do matter. Having your comments, being able to know that you're watching, that you're catching on to the different flow that we have, our vital signs, where we talk about things that are really impacting our everyday life as creators. Then, of course, our lab work, I try to pull out a tool, something that will impact you, help you, that's working for me. And then finally, our consult, where we kind of share back and forth with some of the topics that are on our hearts, on our minds. All of that is designed to help you. So if there's ever a time that you're watching and you're like, I wish Alan would do blank, please put it in the comments. Let me know. Send a message. Send an email to alan@godandgigs.com. All right, but I want to make sure we get right into everything that we are doing today. So let's get the share screen. You know, I'm always trying to find all the buttons. So sometimes the buttons escape me, but it looks like we found the buttons today, which is cool. And let's also do a slightly different layout. I always feel strange when we have nothing in the background, but I'm trying to make it a little bit cleaner. So I'm trying not always to add our backgrounds. So I have to get used to that. That's a personal issue that I always go back and forth with. So quickly, let's get to what we are going to talk about today, our agenda. We're going to welcome our new members. We have a few new members that I want to make sure that every time we go live, we have a chance to say hello to them. Then we get into what's lately happening on the podcast from most recent episode, and then upcoming events, which we'll talk about. Then vital signs, what I just mentioned. Our topic today is it time for you to refresh an old or previous creative project? Is it time to pull something back into, the current work that you're doing, even if you feel like you've moved on? And it's a kind of interesting issue because we're in a content avalanche of everyone always saying you got to do the new thing, the new trend, the new thing. But maybe there's something that you've already done that just needs to be brought back out. Some people call it repurposing. It's all these different ways to look at it. So we're going to talk about that. Then our lab work, we're going to talk about the power of social proof. What is social proof? What does it even mean? Is it just social media? Nope, it's something slightly different. And I think you're going to really be intrigued when you see how you can actually get more marketing out of people just talking about you, and you don't have to lift a finger. Now, finally, we'll get into the consult. That's where we get to have a little fun and discuss something that's on our heads and our minds. And this came from our creator community, 360, and it got a lot of people talking. Should you use AI to market? And I have some comments about that. Not going to share them yet. I'm going to wait until we get to that part. But yeah, I have some strong opinions about this. And finally, joining our creator membership, which is, of course, our prescriptions, what we feel you should do next. But let's keep everything moving. So first, let's say hello to our creator community, our new creators, everyone that has joined us in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I want to make sure that you always feel like you are welcome. So I want to say a special shout out again to Linda. Shout out, Vanessa, you've been here for actually a few months now, so I feel like I can't call you a new member anymore, but I still want to make sure that you feel comfortable and welcome Jerry as well. And if I'm forgetting anybody, please, I don't mind being called out. Call me out. Tell me if I didn't mention you as a new member if you joined in the last month or so. Matter of fact, you know what I'd really like to do? What I would like to do is I would like to do kind of like a new member kind of hangout slash like open house for all of you. So I need to find what day works best for that. So let me know in the membership whether or not there's a certain day, a weekend, maybe we could do it on Saturday so more people could be there during the day. So we'll figure that out. But remember, if you would like to join these folks, you want to go to godandgigs.com/membership. Okay. That's the easiest way for you to immediately say, wait a minute, I don't want to do this alone. I want to be a part of a group where people are connecting, where people are sharing, and that's where I want to be. So godandgigs.com/membership. There should always be a link in the description. If there's not, this is where you can get it. I'll make sure to put it in the chat as well. Okay, so that's where you jump into that, godandgigs.com/membership. All right. So let's keep moving and move on to what's lately happening in the podcast. There I am. And I, this week, shared on the podcast about whether God has called you to start a podcast. And this was where I really opened up about what I've been doing for the past now almost 9 years. Kind of crazy to say that, but yeah, it's kind of crazy to think this way. But for the last 9 years, I have been a podcaster. It's not something that I grew up saying I want to do, that this is the only thing I want to do. But over time, I realized that God had it in his heart that this was what I was supposed to do. This was what I was designed to do, was to be a podcaster. So I'm wondering, maybe there's some other people that had a nudge in their heart and their spirit. I should start a podcast, and I don't know what to do, and I don't even know if God is calling me to do this. Do I need to wait for God's permission to start? Well, that's what we talked about in the podcast. It's episode 396. So you can go to godandgigs.com/396. I'll go ahead and type that in the chat since I don't have a thing for it. Plus, I don't know, on some platforms, it might allow you to click on links. I doubt it, but you never know. So it's nice to see. I know I can make it clickable, and I can show it on the screen here. So that's where you go if you would like to check out that episode. But of course, you can always go to godandgigs.com/podcast. And that is another way for you to find all of our episodes. Okay. So let's keep it going. I need to switch this up so you guys can see everything. And I got to move myself. That looks a little weird. All right. So I want to hide from this session. That was weird. Sorry about that. Didn't know that was going to happen. So let me quickly bring this back up. Once again, clicking around, forgetting where I'm at. Share. Now you should be able to see it. And that is what's coming up next is our Gold Live coaching call on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, this is where the few times that I want to let people know that there are different sections of our membership. We have our guest pass. That's where anyone can join for free and you can get access to our community threads. There is the Creator Resource Center. That subscription allows you access to all of our replays, all of our templates, all of our, basically, if I create it and I create a resource, I throw it in there and I give you guys access to all of it. Okay, so that is basically kind of like the one-stop shop for all things God and Gigs in terms of creator resources. Now, after that, though, there are people who want even more individual attention, and that is what Gold comes in. And they have joined, and that they are getting together on Monday, and we will talk about specifically what their issues are. We'll help them with marketing. We'll help them with spiritual balance, with time management. We'll help them to figure out what their next step is. All of that is in the Gold program. So you might say, well, I want to join that. Well, same place. Go to godandgigs.com/membership. And all those who also are already members, you can upgrade as well inside the app. So inside the app, all you have to do is look for Gold. You'll usually see a little thing there that will allow you to join us. You'll be able to see that little section where on the training hub, you tap on it, and it should say, here's the plan. Okay, so if you have trouble finding that, just DM me inside of the membership. Okay, and then I can guide you or send you a link to upgrade to gold. All right, but hopefully that makes everything clear, and we are ready now to get into our actual stuff. We can get into our vital signs, which will be everything we're going to be talking about today. And let's go ahead and get our media ready, and we'll jump into that. We're on good time today, 10 minutes right in, and never want to keep you guys waiting too long. So here we go. Gets ready for our vital signs. All right. We're back. So, as we talk about, is it time to refresh your old projects? First, I got to tell you kind of the backstory of why this became a thought in my head to share. And honestly, it's because, as I mentioned earlier, so much pressure is put on us to keep the content wheel going. I don't care what kind of artist you are. If you are a content creator in the kind of new sense of YouTube and TikTok and so on, or if you are a performing artist, like any of these areas, as I scoop my microphone a little different to make sure I can hear and see you guys, I have been feeling the pressure, probably just like you have, to feel like, I'm not sure why I'm trying to adjust this now. Oh, that's why, because it's falling. That's why I'm moving it. So I probably have been feeling the pressure just like you have to keep things moving, to stay constant with new work coming out. You know, what's the latest song you wrote? What's the latest thing that you've been doing? And again, the pressure, the feeling is, if I haven't written something new, if I haven't created something new in the last 10 days, 10 months, like I'm sunk. Like I have to be constantly pushing out new material. And what I have discovered and felt even in my own work is I oftentimes neglect the work that I've done because I feel like new always equals better. And if new always equals better, that means everything that I just produce immediately is like kind of like a car, if you think about it. How when you drive off the lot, you know how they say like what do you call it? Depreciation hits the car instantly. So it's almost like as soon as that work leaves your hand, it's depreciating. It's no longer as valuable. It's the latest, it's the last thing you did. Now what's the latest thing you did? And thank God for classics and things where people put out work that, stands the test of time. And, that's obviously where we kind of want to aim for. We want work that lasts. But there are also times that you feel like as soon as you put something out, you got to move on to the next thing. And my issue with that is, again, like I feel like it demeans the value of what we put out. And then there's another thing that you might notice. This happens in Hollywood, it happens in books, happens everywhere, where either the sequel or the reboot or the whatever you want to call it, where things keep coming back up. And sometimes we blame this on a lack of imagination for the creators involved. Sometimes you might think, okay, they don't have any new ideas. This is the 500th version of Superman, of Spider-Man, of superheroes. Obviously is an easy one to aim at, right? Where a new idea, an old idea keeps coming back and redone. And you might say, okay, that's not what I want to do. I want to be fresh. I want to come up with new stuff. But there's something to be said for that. There is a value in those classics that can't be rewritten. Like you can rework it, but when it comes to like the original idea, like it's going to stick. Superman's going to stick. Batman's going to stick. All the different Avengers and the Marvel characters, like they've stuck around for a while because you can kind of retell a story, but the initial concept is so powerful and so great that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The same could be said for many books that have been rewritten, TV series that come back reimagined, but the original concept obviously is where it all came from. So maybe we as creators Maybe we think that we always have to come up with something new when maybe your old project still has legs, still has something that can be reawakened in it, something that can be reimagined, something that could come out. And here's the beautiful thing about it. Let's just talk about it in a very practical sense. You don't have to work. I shouldn't say work as hard. That's not right. It doesn't mean don't have to work as hard, but it does mean um it does mean that there is a certain ease and a certain familiarity with the work. So even those who are watching on replay or watching live, I'd love to know whether you had work in your portfolio that you've looked at and said, this deserves more time. This deserves to come back out. This deserves me to kind of reimagine it or think about it again. Let me know in the comments, because this is definitely more of our conversational live streams today. I'm not going to go straight into, as I've said many times, where sometimes I go straight and I don't stop because I want it to be a repost for our podcast. Today, I want to make sure that I take my time and we really talk about this. Because here's the thing that's really cool. I am currently going through this process myself. I'm going through this process as a writer, redoing the devotional, which you can't see. I have a one standing up here on the bookcase, but Your Art, God's Heart is going to be reimagined. I am re-editing, so it's basically a second edition, and I'm really curious about how can I do it better this time, because we're mostly through the editing process. Such an amazing editor that's helping me again, like just dig back in and say, okay, did I do this well? Was it good the first time? Yeah, it was good. It was really good. A lot of people were blessed. But could it be better? And I believe the answer is also yes. So that's why I thought this was a perfect opportunity to use myself as the example and make sure that I'm always, leading by example, not just telling you guys things that I'm not doing as a Christian creative. How can we refresh things that you've already done? And I think the perspective part is the first part of this, which is as I'm writing again, as I'm looking back at these things, I was in a totally different headspace 8 years ago when I first wrote the devotional. Man, wow. I shudder to think. I pray that some of my crazy mindsets, my stress, my issues did not impact in a negative way what I wrote. Because if it did, I apologize to everyone who read it. Because I don't want that to be the case at all. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're getting less of me or less of my best work because of what I'm going through. But let's just say that was a very, very tumultuous time in my life. And so there's a possibility that I just didn't have the capacity that I have now to write clearly. I had a different editor at the time, so that was a different mindset, right? There's so many different things that were different when I first wrote it, that when you look at it, you're like, wow, I probably could do better the second time just because I'm in a different spot. I have more clarity. I have more of an ability to see what I thought I was trying to create and kind of see it in a different perspective. And I wrote about this in the newsletter, by the way, so that you guys can see it in a written form as well. That I think the joy of this is, one, having this new perspective, this new way of looking at your old material. Now, there are going to be times you're going to kick yourself as you do this, by the way. You're going to be like, why did I add that? What was I thinking? So there's part of that self-critique that you have to be very careful about. You don't want to beat yourself up. You did the best you could with what you had. However, there's also, again, that balance of this could have been way better, but now I'm in a position to actually create it. So I think, honestly, that this is one of the best ways for you to, one, not get caught up in the hamster wheel of content creation. Don't get so caught up that you are no longer feeling the joy of creating because you're so busy always trying to come up with something new, when something that is as simple as the last song you wrote. I mean, let's look at the honest, examples of people that are making millions and billions of dollars. Let's look at Taylor Swift, how hard she worked, and all of the stuff about getting her masters back so she could redo her original albums. Now, she could have said, that's old hat, that's old news, but she knew there was value there. Obviously, it's Taylor Swift, so we know that there's way levels of like zeros behind her name. But fact is, she didn't have to do that. She could have said, okay, I'm not going to do my old work again. But she did. Another famous edition or example is Miles Davis. I'm always like entranced and almost a little scared to tell this story because Miles Davis didn't want to go back. And as a trumpet player, he was one of the most innovative of all time. And he said, I'm never going to go back. But right before he passed away, he's like, you know what? I should go back and redo one of my most famous albums, Sketches of Spain. And he did it with Quincy Jones as the producer. And I still listen to that album as one of the, like, knowing that Miles did not have his trumpet ability, but just knowing that he was willing to honor his old work was like so powerful. And so many other areas where I could say, you can think about what you've done before. Is it time to dust it off? Give it another look. Share it again, because one, it saves you time. One, you can see new values in that maybe you didn't see before. And then finally, you might be able to figure out that, hey, this might go over better the second time. You know what? And there's something that I really have found, honestly, that I have found that when I have, what do you call, pulled out like podcast, this is just podcast episodes. Excuse me. Podcast episodes. When I do that and I release it the second time, a lot of times they do better the second time around, which is crazy. But I'm thinking, okay, this is a repost. No one's going to watch it again or listen again, but it's new to somebody. It's always new to somebody. So that's my creator checkup vital signs for today is maybe it is time to dust off those projects. Maybe it is time to think about, hey, maybe this old idea is going to be great and I can like refashion it. I have more resources now. I have better, cameras now. I have all these things that I can do a better job the second time. And Hollywood and TV shows have done this for years and years and months and decades of putting out new things, and people watch it again. And again, there's critique about all of that. But I think there's something that we could like lean into, that we can see the value in our work even after it has been posted once, posted twice, posted 3 times. Who cares? Put it out again, see if you can do something different with it. All right, I love this. This was a great conversation. Let me know in the comments whether you thought this was valuable to you. And so now let's jump into our next part, which is the lab work. Wait 1 second. Here we go. And okay, so let's talk about this one because I love this topic. And it's a topic that, once again, I don't think a lot of people talk about in this way. It's just the way that people think about this, I think sometimes lends itself to the wrong, the wrong focus and things that make you, again, kind of go crazy with social media. And we're talking about the value of social proof. Now, social proof, the first time you hear it, I don't know if you know what that term even means. But basically, it's the idea that, when other people read about you, they trust other people's opinions. And it's the same as with any kind of testimonial, any kind of reviews. You guys hear people ask for reviews all the time. It's just this point that we want proof from somebody else that something is worth my attention, my value, my money. So you've seen this all the time, I'm sure. You've seen this on billboards. You've seen that 1,000 people love this. Millions of people love this. And then, of course, they'll show the actual testimonial of the person. You'll see the lawyer where someone says, come up, and they come up and say, this person won me $10 million because of this lawsuit. Like, it's over and over again. It's social proof. It's proof from other people that you are who you say you are. So why is this so important to us as artists, creatives, and content creators and entrepreneurs? It's because, let's be honest, just paying for ads to talk about yourself is expensive and usually not as effective as social proof. So today I want to share a tool that I am really, 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 really happy about, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of keep sharing this because I haven't talked about it very often. So we're gonna go out of this, and let me get ready to share screen so I can show you guys this tool, and then later in the month, maybe next month, we're going to do a whole series on this tool. I've talked about it earlier, before, but just haven't, I think maybe because I got so used to it, I didn't realize that maybe I haven't shared it as often as I should. And so let's see if I can get this up here. So the tool is called Senja, Senja. So hope you guys are seeing it here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back out so you can see the front page. So let's log out again. If I can log out, see if how do I remember to log out? Oh, I can remember how to log out. Anyway, so I'm just going to kind of walk you through it. And the idea is, of course, is that you are able to get people to talk about you and then share it easily. So this is my Senja dashboard here. And as you can see, I have all of these really beautiful testimonials about different things. Now, I just had a call yesterday with one of the affiliate managers. We are an affiliate. And she was telling me so many cool things that I can even do now that I didn't even know I could do. But the first thing I want to make sure you see is just the value of having these 5-star reviews. The value of having people who have said, I want to talk about you and share what's going on. Okay, so this is a blessing just to see people who have felt that they want to talk about me. Now, what I've done with this, let me show you a couple of examples right away, just so you can see like how this works in real time before we get all into, how to set it up. What I've done is I've created what they call a wall of value. Okay, so wall of value is basically where all of these comments and social media posts and things like that are on one page. I really got to start sharing this more. Now you can see I actually have two things here. I have on our webpage, I have a pop-up, well, not pop-up, what do we call this? Yeah, this is like a pop-up that constantly shows all of the social proof I have collected through Senja. Not only that, it shows all of these on this wall of love, which I have on the reviews. Okay, so I'm just so blessed to have, this is just a cool page, and all this is put together automatically for you. So this is just an example of how I'm using Senja. And there's some other examples I can show you. If I go to, we're just going to do like a quick run around of all kinds of things. I'm going to go ahead to our Facebook page. Actually, no, let's go to Instagram. And let's look at the profile. And I want to go to where you can see, even in terms of Instagram, I've been able to share some of these reviews. And the way that Senja does it, it allows you to create these. Wait, I think it's right up here. Silly. I'm going all the way from it. It's right here. So you can see here, I just created this quick page where I could do a carousel post. And from that carousel post, then I was able to create these social media graphics. The social media graphics are just beautiful ways of showing the same thing that, so all this was created through Senja and a little bit of Canva. But that's what I love about this, is that the social proof is speaking for me. I am not trying to toot my own horn. What I'm trying to do here is be super, super honest about, hey, if this is for you, if you think you'll like this, check out some other people who have benefited from this project, from this work. So the social proof does the talking for me. And it's so much better than buying ads, talking to the camera, just praying people pay attention. Like, to me, this is just such a better way of doing things. When people can see the work you've done and they are not trying to be convinced by you, they're being convinced by other people. So that's just an example of how I'm using it. The social media graphics, I'm using the wall of love, as I mentioned. When you go back to the God and Gig site, and I'll go back to just a regular site, you'll see that pop-up happens again right there. So I was talking to, again, Anna over at Senja about the possibility of not doing the speaker ones. These are actually from, and you know what? I just realized I can click on them. You know, I did not even realize I could do that. Y'all, I literally just, I literally learned that today. I was today years old. That's crazy. This whole time, I did not realize these are clickable. You want to do a little adventure? Let's see what happens. I literally don't know what happens. Oh, so this takes you to sign up for Senja. I literally didn't know that. I did not know these were clickable. That is super cool. And you can also, let's say someone doesn't want to see this pop up, they can close it right there. Boom. So it goes away. All right. So that's just an example of how I'm using this tool to create social media graphics and things like that. And it's just a blessing, again, to see how easy it is for us to create that social proof, to collect that social proof. Let's quickly go back to Senja real quick if you want to see, because I think it's Pamela. Pamela always says she loves it when I do the actual things where, actually show people how it works. So I'll just show you a quick thing of how, let's do a background thing on how let's fixing the tags, because that's what I need to do. So I have testimonials, all these different areas. And so maybe I want a new testimonial to go to a certain section. I can always just go in, look at the different things, and I can say, yeah, I want to add a tag to this one. So I can go down here, selected, and then tag, and I can add it to a different tag. Okay. So that's an easy way to kind of find things and add it to a certain thing. Now you might say, well, how do I even get those testimonials to begin with? Well, I go to forms and I can create a form, and I can make a way that people can join us. So I can either do it through example, or collect it through a form. I can collect it by case studies. I can collect it from sponsors. I can collect it through a course. And then there's also ways that you can import different things from all these different places, this is super cool. Literally all I have to do is just go to a website. I can import it from a web. I can import it through a spreadsheet. Manual import, I can just go and copy and paste it and it will show up. All these things are super easy. And I love the auto import because, as you can see, I am automatically getting anything that comes in from Amazon, anything that comes in from God and Gigs, anything that comes in from my devotional, and anything that comes in from Facebook. And I might look for some new ones very soon. All right, so that's just a quick look. I think we need to do a deeper dive into this, so I'm not going to spend too long on that. But I really, really want to make sure you are understanding that this is a powerful way of you to get into what social proof can do for you using this tool. So more important, of course, is the tool. More important is the actual thing. Whatever you use to get social proof, you should do it. But then Senja is a great way for you to do that. All right. All right, so today's consult comes straight from our amazing community manager, Simony. I'm always in the way here. I'm going to have to figure out a way to flip this. Wish there was a way I could make it where I was on the right side, or maybe I just have to change my slides. We'll figure that out. We will figure that out very soon. But the comment and the question comes from our membership. And the question we had in the membership was, let's just make sure we're going live here. That was another thought that, okay, cool, we're still live. I was nervous. Thought we weren't live. So one thing that I would really, really love to know is whether or not you guys have an opinion about AI and promotion. Because I do have a comment about this. It bothers me to death, and this is my pet peeve. So let me just get on a soapbox for half a second. My pet peeve is how AI, specifically the image generation, is making everybody's stuff look the same. I mean, every flyer I see, there's an instant, again, maybe people are getting more inventive, but I feel like what happens with AI is that it brings us down to the lowest common denominator of effort. I think for some reason it makes people do less effort. Yes, it helps people who couldn't do this at all in terms of graphic design, promotion, ads. I get it. But it also prevents you from pushing and differentiating. And so what I've noticed is you guys have seen this, I'm sure, the very same look for like whenever there's a trend, whenever there's a trend, it's like everybody's doing the exact same look. And because they're doing the exact same look, like I don't see it at all. It's like all of these flyers, these AI flyers have blended into one homogeneous, just they all, I mean, I can see it right now. And it means I don't see your branding. I do not recognize there's nothing to make me think of your image or your event separate from the other events that had the exact same look. So right now, like I said, I mean, I could probably do some examples. I don't know if I should put people out, but if I go to Facebook right now, I guarantee you in like 5 seconds, I'll find like um, five different flyers that are very clearly AI because of the look and because of the way that it's been formatted. It's like so obvious. And again, the problem is that if you've done that, and I'm not saying that you can't use these tools, but like I said, the temptation is to do the least and not see that, wait, my thing looks just like everybody else's. So that is where I feel like we have really, really missed the boat when it comes to the power of our branding, the power of our individuality. So the question is to you now, should you use AI to help you promote your creative work? Maybe you found a sweet spot. Maybe you found a way that AI either works with audio or video and it is helpful with you promoting your work where you feel like it's effective. I have not found that. I've been playing with, again, AI as a research assistant has been very, very helpful. As doing a brainstorming session where I can quickly get some new ideas for words to use, quickly do evaluation. Let's say I want to like, what's the searchability of this phrase? Okay, try 5 other phrases. What about that one? What about that one? What about that one? Bah, bah, bah. So it gets me in a faster way of evaluation of what I might want to promote, how I want to promote it, whether people are actually searching for a term. So that part of AI, I think, again, if it's just a faster way for me to help make my decisions, great. But if it is becoming the way that is, I think Jordan Rayner has done a whole YouVersion devotional about this, which we might do even as a group. I think I'll put it in the chat for our group. If you guys would love to do a Bible study on biblical guardrails for AI, because I think it's what I've been reading is fantastic the way he puts it. And one of the things he says is it can help you with how to do something, but it shouldn't tell you what to do. And I found this over and over that Misty Phillip also talks about this in her book, The Trojan Horse of the Digital Age. Misty has been in our membership as a facilitator for workshops, but she's an expert in AI now and how it's impacting the church. And so she has shared about how AI has a perspective. And here's the thing, again, not to beat up on AI, but if you're not careful, these biases and this very kind of average, I can only call it average because it's becoming the average. It doesn't stand out. Like, because it's drawing on literally millions and millions and millions of examples, that it essentially is creating just the best possible mix of all these different versions. but nothing makes it stand out beyond where it's clearly you. So individuality is so important when it comes to marketing. And if you are not standing out as a marketer, as an artist, as a creative, you're really just, again, just fading into the background of so many other people. Is this a volume play, or are people just trying to create more stuff faster? Great, but it's more and more average stuff. So I haven't seen it yet. Now, if you've seen it and you have an answer for this and you feel like, there's a reason that you should do AI for your stuff, go ahead. Please put it in the chat. Show me some examples where AI has been effective in promoting your work in a authentic way that stands out. But if you're in the opposite side, and we had a lot of votes on this inside the membership, so maybe you're not in the membership, you want to chime in. If you're in the membership, you want to get some more context, feel free. But I would love to know what you guys actually feel about this. Simony put this question. I thought it was a great question. So I'm glad that we are discussing that. All right. We're about to the end now. I'm going to get ready to cut out, but we have had a great discussion today. So let's just jump into our prescriptions. No need for us to do the stinger for the last section here, because all of you who've been watching for a while know what's coming next. This is what I think you should do. Join this 360 community. All of our new members have found us in one way, shape, or form, whether through a video or so on, and all of them have said, I'm so glad I found this community. They've all said, this was God leading me to connect with people who believe what I want to believe, who know what I want to know, and grow the same way I want to grow. So once they find that, there's no reason why you should stay in the background. And I'm happy to tell you, prices have not increased in a long time. Even though everything else is going up, we're keeping God and Gigs where it is. It's $17 a month for Creator Resource and $79 a month for Gold. And there's an annual plan available where you can save even more. And I only talk about the price because I get it. It's the summer. Some people are really kind of fighting through the bills, fighting through keeping things going with your budgets. I get it. I'm always careful to hey, I'm not going to subscribe to everything, but just think of the overall value that you are placing inside what God has put inside you. And does it deserve the chance to connect with other creators, other creatives, other artists? Do you want to feel protected, supported, encouraged, inspired? Then you need a group like this, because without it, you're kind of just out here on your own, and things tend to shrivel up when they do not have that constant care and watering and feeding from other creators who are like you. So that's why I invite you to join God and Gigs 360. It's why I believe all the people who are in there right now are loving it so much, or finding so much. We have our own app. Our own app is, again, just the bomb. We don't have to worry about any kind of algorithm. When I post it, it shows up. When you post it, it shows up. Everybody gets to see it. We're very, very open about promoting our own work. We don't feel like you have to hide your own work. We actually want you to promote your work to each other. We can collaborate. All that's just in a beautiful place that we call God and Gigs 360. 360 talks about really every area of your life: your finances, your faith, your creative work, your lifestyle. We cover it all. 360 covers everything in terms of the Christian creative lifestyle. Okay, so I would hope you would join us, and it's always there at godandgigs.com/membership. All right, my friends, that is it for today. I think this was a really, really, really good session. I think we covered a bunch. I didn't always feel like, okay, am I going to be able to, cover, an hour's worth, 45 minutes worth of material? And every time it's beyond that. So we're going to go ahead and cut out for now. But until next time, continue to become the creator that you were created to be. We will have a live stream next week on Friday. We will have our next episode on Tuesday, coming out on Tuesday, with an amazing author. This one's going to bless you. I should have talked more about the episode that's coming up as well as the episode that just passed, because this episode that's coming up is going to bless you. It's been so impactful to me with Ruth Douthit. You're going to love this, but make sure you subscribe to godandgigs.com/podcast for that. And all of that is coming your way to help you become the creator that you were created to be. God bless, and we'll see you next time.